What's going on, everybody? This is Daniel Harms of the RGR Football Channel, film analyst, and today what I want to talk to you guys about is a little bit of some 2022 breakout players. Somebody who maybe has an opportunity this year to really break out that might not have another chance next year. Some of these players that have been in the system for a few years now, we want to see take that next step. We're going to talk about that today, but first, make sure you hit that like and the bell and the sub notification, and please, those likes really help getting us out to the rest of the Chiefs community. And obviously, the subs give you guys the opportunity to get everything that we do here on the RGR channel every single week. So make sure you do that. Obviously, you can tell that the allergy season has not been very kind to me. My eyes are absolutely bloodshot all the time. They itch and watery. So I'm going to try to get through this. I'm going to be a trooper and be the best that I can be for you guys. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. Some of the guys that I really like to break out this year. I'm going to talk about 3 players, and this obviously does not account for possible injuries, so we'll knock a little bit of wood there. The first player that I definitely want to get our ears and our mouths talking about, 4th year now. This is his 4th year. Juan Thornhill. I believe this is his 4th year. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But Juan Thornhill is going to be the safety tandem with Justin Reed, who was brought over to replace Tyrann Mathieu in terms of that body. He's not going to replicate what Tyrann Mathieu did. But there's now an opportunity for Juan Thornhill to be maybe more of what Tyrann Mathieu was. Down inside, be a slot / middle of the field defender. With his speed and size, it might offer more of an opportunity for him to be an impactful player, because he wasn't utilized very much in the beginning of the season last year. To the chagrin of everybody in Chiefs Kingdom, it was Daniel Sorensen being trotted out there until they finally had enough and they put Juan Thornhill out there. And he was actually a very, very good coverage safety, the best outside of Tyrann Mathieu on the team. And out of all the players that remaining left on the roster, Rashad Fenton is the only guy who graded in coverage better than Juan Thornhill. So I really want him to take that next step. Obviously, utilization is going to be important with him. Is he going to be more of the explosive guy that I think he was in his rookie year? A little bit that we saw at the end of his second season where he came back from injury and was starting to play a little bit better. Last year at times we saw it, but he was taking some interesting angles. He didn't have the best tackling prowess that we've seen in recent memory, but I'm hoping this year, he gets everything under control. He has maybe a better athlete at safety, at safety tandem position, possibly the third safety, and Brian Cook coming off to help too. There's a lot of different players that they can use to help. So maybe utilizing him more as that underneath and that robber type of player can help make him a much better, impactful player. So I think Juan Thornhill has an opportunity to take that step. This is his last year, really. He, as a second-round pick, this is your 4th year. His 4th year, his contract year, as the late, great Therese Paylor said, the contract year is undefeated. I hope that that's the case with Juan Thornhill, because they have loaded up at safety, not just in free agency, but in the draft. So this really, to me, is a make-or-break season for Juan Thornhill, because they have no incentive to bring him back if he does not perform like he did much in his first season. So I don't know whether the injury really hampered him in coming back to anything that he was his rookie year, but this is a year that he needs to prove that he's that player and that can be that player and possibly show some glimpses of somebody who can play underneath, come downhill, be a force in the run game, and maybe get some more ball production. He hasn't had what he did in that first season. So guy I really, really want to see break out, and that I think can, in this defense, a little bit faster, a little bit more up-paced, a little more physical. He's going to have an opportunity to show himself. The next guy is someone who we've seen do lots of different things and who has never been able to be on the field all that much. I'm hoping this year, after he came back healthy last year and was a scratch, he was not playing, the loss of Jaron Reed is going to give and really without much addition to the defensive line. There's been one acquisition. I believe it was a player who was Indianapolis Colt player last year. Forgetting his name, but he is more of a depth player. Collin Saunders is going to have an opportunity, folks. He's going to have an opportunity to be a player, to be a rotational, functional player alongside Derek Nottie, Chris Jones, and Tershawn Wharton. They're really looking for someone to take over that 4th and /5th defensive tackle spot. And Collin Saunders has been the an interesting, very, I say this the grain of salt, a very polarizing prospect because he was a third round pick. Let's not forget that there was a lot of athletic upside there. He came into the league more as a pass rush guy, but really more of a big pass rush player, athletic, nimble build. Then he comes in, they really work on his run defense, and he was a much better run defender and when he's been on the field than he was a pass rusher. So he's a very, when I say polarizing, I just mean that he had all the athletic and pass rush traits coming out that you would look for, especially out of East Carolina or one of these smaller Division II schools that you were looking for. Like he was the prototypical. He played running back in high school for crying out loud. Like he had all of those things that you're really looking for in a guy you can get some pass rush juice up the middle, and he hasn't been that. Hasn't been on the field, and we don't really know the situation when he came back from his injury. He was basically a healthy scratch the rest of the season. So he has an opportunity now to be a rotational functional piece. Jerron Reed, like I said, was that guy. He was rotating in and out with Derek Nottie, who is now solidified as your starter opposite of Chris Jones. Who's going to come in and pass rush downs? Who's it going to be? You don't have anybody else. You're hoping Tershawn Wharton can come in and bring more, but he's fell off since his emergence, his rookie season. So he has now, with the lack of depth on the interior of this defensive line, we have to look to Collin Saunders to be able to do something, to give you some functional pass rush snaps and some run defense snaps. He was one of the better tacklers on the defense last year. Actually pretty good for him, but again, not enough production, not enough playing time. Honestly, he played in 7 games last year. It's not really good enough for a guy who has all the upside that the Chiefs were looking for. Maybe it's just not going to work out. That's definitely a possibility, but by all accounts, I mean, he's gotten a bit heavier. Let's be completely honest about that. 324 pounds on the depth chart right now. Probably doesn't need to be all the way up there. Could lose a little bit, get some more of that agility back, maybe give you more in the pass rush game. And hopefully he does that this year. I want to see him get out there on pass rush downs because, like I said, that's what he was drafted for. And I'm hoping this is, again, more of a projection because he hasn't been able to improve a whole lot. So I'm hoping that the new defensive line coach can get with him. They maybe trim him up a little bit and he can be a little bit more explosive than we've seen as more of a purely run defense guy, because he actually got really, really good at taking on some double teams and handling those situations, but the pass rush has been gone. So Collin Saunders is going to have an opportunity to come in, play some significant snaps as a role player in this defense this year, and have an opportunity to make a name for himself. So I'm hoping that he can do that. That would be awesome to see. And the last guy who was on his way, I swear, he was on his way to a breakout last year before his season-ending injury. We all love him. We all wanted to see him back. He just signed that 1-year contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. It is Jody Fortson, number 88. He's going to be a tight end. But the best thing about Jody Fortson is that not only is he a tight end, they lined him up everywhere. Literally everywhere. If I could actually move this over. Whatever. He played all over the formation, offense, in line. He played in the slot. He played out wide. He was able to do everything. So when we look at the breakdown of his pass catching statistics here, 11 snaps in the slot, 10 snaps out wide, 18 in line, and he's all over, usage everywhere. He only had 5 targets last year. Caught every one of them for 47 yards and 2 touchdowns. The big number there, the touchdowns, things that we saw were on his tape coming into last year, that game against the Eagles where he had that touchdown and then he gets hurt. It's heartbreaking. And I really do believe in this offense with his size and the way that he was working into being a trustworthy player, for Patrick Mahomes in that season last year, and then he gets hurt. I do believe this is the year for him, and that may be just me being, a hopeless romantic because I love him. I think he's going to be a really, really exceptional complementary tight end for this offense, and it allows them to be more of a functioning 13 personnel offense where they couldn't really do that with Noah Gray and Blake Bell. You can do that with Jody Fortson because you can line them up everywhere. You can do that. We saw that against the Eagles where they used the 13 personnel sets with Travis Kelce and Jody Fortson and Blake Bell, and you can throw in Noah Gray in there as well if you want to. They have so many different ways that they can attack you with those tight end personnel because you can just split them out and play one-on-one, and you have the size to go beat them, and you have the athletic ability with Travis Kelce, and Jody to be able to beat those one-on-one matchups outside. So I'm really excited to see him this year. I'm hoping that, because we've already seen him at OTAs, he's been running routes, he's been catching passes. I think he's going to be ready for training camp. He's going to have an opportunity to solidify himself as the number 2 tight end in this offense. I think he got much better in the pass blocking, in the run blocking department last year. Hopefully he takes another step forward with that, because that's how you really solidify that. Blake Bell is the pseudo number 2 because he can block, he can come in and be a blocking tight end. Obviously, Travis Kelce does that for you as well. Noah Gray is not the best blocker. He's probably not going to be much of a blocker this year, specifically only a possession type of tight end. But Jody has the big play upside, the ball skills, the athletic ability to make an impact on this roster. I'm hoping, and I can see a path for him being a truly impactful player in this Kansas City offense. And the way that Patrick Mahomes has talked about where it's going everywhere, you could see a lot of it funnel to the tight ends they show with Travis Kelce and Jody Fortson, possibly Noah Gray as well. I'm really excited for that group to take a step forward with Travis Kelce at the helm, start to learn a little bit more. Maybe you get some more Jody Fortson on the outside as a traditional X type of receiver as a tight end. That'd be really awesome to see. But him being a full-fledged tight end in this offense really makes them so versatile, so many different things you can do with that type of skill set. So Jody Fortson is a guy I really love to see. Again, 3 guys that I think are going to break out. Juan Thornhill, Collin Saunders, at least have an opportunity to break out. Maybe not that I think will, but have an opportunity to. Juan Thornhill, Collin Saunders, Jody Fortson. This is going to be a great season for these younger players. I'm hoping to see them all on the field more, get them in shape, get them on the field, find a way to get them productive, and have a great 2020. One thing I want from all of you is to give me the guy you think is going to have an impact early on, who's going to be a guy who can break out. It can be a rookie, it can be a UDFA, anybody you guys want. I want to hear them in the comment section. Make sure you hit that like. Please do hit that sub and the bell notification for your benefit. Again, the like for us to get us into Chiefs Kingdom. We want to reach everybody that we possibly can, so that would be a great help. You guys, please, this video is just purely for entertainment purposes and just trying to get more interaction with the fans. I want to see who you guys want to break out. We all know who I want to break out. I didn't mention the specific guys because it's been talked about enough, but I want to hear your opinions. I want to see it. Let's go. We're going to have a great 2020. And you guys, please make sure you have a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.